Hi, girlfriends, guy friends. This is Angela Jordan Perry with Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. Yay! We are on episode number 16. So come on in. I give you a chance to get settled. I will get our guest in here, and we will get started with her. Looks like she's here. Yeah, she is. Woohoo! Alrighty. Let's go ahead and share.
Hey.
Hey, Nathalie. Yay. Just a quick moment. Hi, come on in. Let us know where you are viewing us from. Send some greetings to our guest for today. It's going to be on fire. Yay. Oh, and let us know where you're coming in from. Hey, Cynthia. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Shiva. Good to see you again. Pop in. Who else? Did I miss anybody?
Hey, man.
Yep, you all hit the share button and get it out. Did you already share?
I did, and it's good to see friends on here.
Yay! Good support for this beautiful, beautiful lady. She's so beautiful. In sunny Florida, is the weather beautiful, shiny, and how is it?
It's a little overcast here in Jacksonville.
Is it? We got it today. I guess we sent it to y'all because we had it the other day and raining, and today it's beautiful. The mountain view is shining, showing beautifully back there in our pasture. So, all right. So here we are. We're going to get started. 3, 2, 1. Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. This is Angela Jordan Perry, and I am turned up for today's guest. Woo! Our interview for the day is going to be with none other than Nathalie Hawkins. If you know her, give her thumbs up, hearts. If you don't, still give her thumbs up and hearts. Woo! This is going to be amazing. So again, I'm Angela Jordan Perry. I'm the homeschool mom of 18 years to 8 children. 3 we graduated. I'm the wife of 1 husband, Tyrone, now for 26 years. My first sweetheart at 16, married at 19. We still together, hanging in there, and triumphantly, hallelujah. So so this platform is to give voice to homeschoolers, to all homeschoolers. I don't care your gender, race, religion, whatever. There are so many reasons for homeschooling, and I want to make your voice heard, okay? So my purpose-driven life is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. And it starts right here in part with these amazing interviews and these beautiful women. Woo, I've been so blessed. What a journey. In just a couple of weeks of meeting these people, these women, and hearing their stories and just being encouraged. So you are in for a treat. Nathalie,
yes.
Are you ready to make it happen?
I am absolutely ready and so excited. I want to thank you so much for just the opportunity. I believe so much in what you're doing, just showing the faces of all the different kinds of homeschoolers, different perspectives. So I'm just honored to be able to be a part. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, let me tell you, Nathalie Hawkins is a Haitian-born writer, speaker, children's program coordinator, curriculum developer, and home educator. A graduate of Howard University with a degree in communications. Nathalie advocates for quality education in underserved communities on platforms in the private and public sector. She is the owner of To Teach Her Own. I love that. To Teach Her Own. A website, a blog, and a vlog devoted to empowering parents in their educational choices. Citing Frederick Douglass's observation that it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Nathalie believes the calling of parenthood to be sacred and approaches it with reverence. She endeavors to inspire and empower parents of all backgrounds to reclaim ownership of the educating and rearing of their children with the ultimate objective of cultivating a generation of children so clearly anchored in their identity and purpose that they can empower and impact others. Nathalie is a mother of 2 intelligent, capable girls and doting wife of a handsome naval aviator. When she is not managing her website, which is www.toteachherown.com, She enjoys audiobooks, reading anything from Jane Austen, heading out on impromptu field trips, and play dates with her two girls, Elise and Lydia. Her best moments, however, are spent on her travels and adventures with her husband of 10 years. Is that Emil? Is that how I say his name?
Emil, yep.
Emil. So beautiful. Now, I have given you quite a bio, and I didn't want to leave out anything because every single thing was pertinent. But Nathalie, if there's anything that I have not shared, please tell these girlfriends and guy friends more about yourself and how you actually got started in homeschooling.
Okay, so I think you covered a lot of it. We actually got started kind of in like a stumbling, fumbling kind of way. I didn't know anything about homeschooling. I don't even think I've met homeschoolers up until we started. Except at the church that I happened to go to, the pastor's wife started homeschooling. There was a homeschool co-op, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I did a few field trips with them, but my children were still quite young. We kind of my oldest. She kind of surprised me. I guess surprised, but she started reading quite young, and it wasn't like I promise I didn't try to I wasn't even trying to teach her. She just kind of took to it. She figured out the code. Reading is picking up the code more so than anything else. She did it quite young, and I realized that hey, while you're reading, I may as well. It opened up so many doors. I was like, let me kind of guide you. You seem like me. I'm a reader. I'm a writer. That kind of thing. And we just kind of went with that at home in like this really informal spending days at the library kind of format. And then when it came time to school, we are a military family. We ended up having to move, and we were like, we're only going to be here a few years. I've seen people do this homeschool thing, maybe I can just get started. I'm home with her anyway. We're thinking about another baby. It was so accidental. It wasn't like, and I say accidental, but I do believe that the Lord guides us in things like that. Like I was like, oh, let's just give that a shot, And so we moved, and believe it or not, we ended up in a small, military neighborhood, and the people across from me, the people diagonally across from me, and the people behind me were homeschoolers.
Wow.
One 7 children, one had 5, the other had 2, and they were a homeschooling family. And I was kind of submerged. I was just enamored with how connected their families were. It wasn't even educated. Like, I don't even know what they did, curriculum wise. I don't know what they did. I don't know how bright their kids were. I don't know what their talents were. But one of the things that drew me to it was how connected their families were, and how they were portable, and how we're military family. It's like they moved from here to there. They kept the schooling thing kind of like consistent. They traveled together, and their oldest children were very close to the youngest children. And that just drew me to it. And I was like, Lord, is this for us? We started doing it. We started to just spend some time, and really informally, because my daughter was 5. We didn't do like a lot of sit down work or anything, but we just made education a bigger part of our life. And with doing that, we just kind of found our way into homeschooling and started reading some more. I read some books that just kind of stirred me up. I was like, this is it. I was kind of a geek anyway. And so the idea of just being able to come and teach about history and teach about this stuff was kind of exciting to me. And so we kind of continued on this path, and my husband got on board. Really, I would have given up at certain points. My husband got fully on board, and it just seemed like our family kind of accelerated because we had like one vision, and we were so empowered by what it was the fruit of it. We were so empowered by it. So
Wow, that's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hey, Christina, welcome back. So you mentioned real quick, you mentioned your husband, he got on board. I mean, what does that look like when you say he got on board? Did he start helping with the schooling? Did he unpack that for us?
You know what? Because of his career, I mean, he takes, he has long detachment, sometimes appointments. It really was, he got on board with the vision for it, with the goal. He got on board kind of seeing our family and our goal as parents in a way that made homeschooling make complete sense. He was like, this is the only way to do for our family, to be able to do what our ultimate goal is with our children. And so he got on board. I think once your mindset and you believe so, wholeheartedly in what you're doing, then, I mean, everything else flowed from there. Then we don't question, when the next school year comes. I mean, there are times, you can change your mind, obviously, but I don't think when things get hard, homeschooling is not something that we're just like, well, we'll just drop that. It's part of what we are, and it's part of who he is. And when we plan our lives, when we budget, when we bought a home, one of the things we factored in was, yeah, we home educate, you know, we do this. So we bought a smaller home, you know, and we plan our life around that versus it's something that we're just unsure of. I think once we became one in that mindset, it just made everything flow a little bit better. And he does help. He is our music instructor. He's one of those people that, you know, he just picks up an instrument and within a month he can do it. He's just that kind of person. And so he helps my daughters who are kind of musically inclined. He does that. He's also our like math heavy, engineer heavy, he can code anything kind of guy. So he includes the girls in that, and nothing strictly formal, but he is that voice. Like when they know they need a, you know, my daughter's programming a robot, she's don't come to mommy with that one. She goes to daddy. So it's good to have that support. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Now tell me, how long have you been homeschooling?
This will make 5 years now. My formally, I guess I counted by when I had to report. So
Okay.
we avoided that until like the very, like now I have to tell the county kind of thing. So about 5 years formally.
Okay, okay. But since she actually started reading, how old was she when she started reading? I'm really curious.
She was 3. And
Wow.
and I'll tell you a story. We were I was in the nursery with her. My husband was actually deployed at the time, and he sent a marital text, you know, one of those private texts. And my little girl was 3. I'm thinking nothing of it, just kind of looking at it. And she was 3, and she read it out loud. She says, "What does Daddy mean by?" And she read what he said. And I was like, "Wait a minute, where did you? How did you?" It was just one of those things, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you know, she's reading." And I called him like, "Wait, watch out!" I put the phone away, and we just talked about it. We just said, "You know what? It opens up a whole new world when your children can see what what you're reading and stuff."
Yeah.
So I just kind of started to formally. I don't even think I went then. I didn't go straight to doing grammar or phonetics with her. I just kept reading to her at 3.
Yeah.
We just was on my lap and we would read like we always did. She memorized books, you know, those Dr. Seuss books.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And I think we just kind of built a culture where reading is something you just do all the time. So.
Wow, that would be scary. Like your 3-year-old, what did you just read?
Yeah, what did you just read?
Whoa.
He had a 3-year-old lips. It's like, what did you? Okay.
Wow, 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 wow. So that she's never had a taste of public school. You all have never touched that desire, I mean, at all for public school.
You know, no, we
But you were formerly, you know, you were educator in public school, correct?
absolutely, all the way through. We were Haitian immigrants, living below the poverty level. Just my mom made education important, and not in like a bullying way, but just said this is the only way out. And so we were aiming at, we were like, you can't pay for college. If we want to go, we got to do it. And so we just we did that. My sisters and I, there were 5 of us. We were all, you know, college educated and things like that. And I actually had no problems in public school. I actually thrived. I was in the gifted program and all that stuff. It wasn't a problem in terms of, I got information. I was educated. I did find out problems later, though, in terms of motivation or truly understanding who I am, what I'm supposed to be doing, and being able to find a niche kind of thing, those kind of issues. But I actually was great. I'm very grateful for the education I received in public school. I actually had some incredible teachers, and I ended up getting to college, you know, getting that full ride to Howard, and that worked for me. And I'm grateful for it every day.
Now you told us just a little bit, you know, that homeschooling, that's your DNA, that's part of your life, that's who your family, you know, who you are as a family. You're home educators. So one of the things I always want to make sure, you know, anyone hears is that we're never in a position of bashing public school or saying that public school. I mean, we rejoice and overjoyed in what we are able to do and blessed to do. And but you know, coming from your perspective, how easy was it to because that's what your education is in education, correct? Is that what it is?
It was in communications. I actually changed over at the last minute, and I did elementary education. I taught in a elementary school in Washington, D.C. over summer program.
Tell a little bit about your background, and this is a segue right into my next question.
Okay, so I'll start from the very beginning. I was one of those kids who's one of my favorite games to play was to play school. So, but I thought, I mean, I was on my way to being an attorney. That was kind of the plan. And then when I got to college, I was starting to think, I started to do these volunteer programs in the DC schools, and was teaching basic literacy to these schools. And it was in Southeast DC, a poorer area, Washington, DC. And I got to see, 6, 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds even, that weren't able to read and those kind of things. And I got to help them. And I just realized the power of education and the power of, who teaches you, how they teach you, and how that influences you. And I got to see what it looked like when that wasn't done well. I got to see what that looked like when parents and children are kind of separated, and you feel like the system just tells you everything. The system just the weight of the system. And I got to see that. And I said, I thought, I'm like, I'm going to change this over. I took this break, and I didn't go to law school, and I said, I'm going to be a teacher. And then I met my husband. and then I met my husband, we got married, we have different plans. And then even still, I tried to go back to the teaching thing. I was like, no, education is so important, especially in underserved communities, especially in places where life things like poverty and those kind of things keep families from being able to be educated in a way that will get them out of the circumstances that they're in. And so when we had our own children, the plan was, I don't even think I thought about it. I was like, of course, they're going to school. We're just going to help out in school. And then that shifted a little bit. And we still give our time, though, to schools in our neighborhood. We gave a couple years to a high school locally. And the high school experience was very interesting. I would bring my young children to a high school, and we volunteer after school, and we'd help with certain programs and workshops and things like that. And it was also in a neighborhood where schools were, I don't want to say a struggling school, but it was a neighborhood with challenges. And to see high schoolers graduating, but then not having life skills and not understanding their history, and just the wave of negativity, it impacted me deeply. So we still, our family still tries to help out in the community and in local schools, even with our homeschooling, because it's really about educating children and educating families. And more so for me, and I think this is kind of why I called it To Teach Her Own, it's basically giving parents an understanding of how powerful they are in their children's lives, and how they can educate them, and how they are everything that their children need. They can either find it, they have it, or if they step out on it, they'll have everything they need to raise their own children and be their primary influences.
That's good. But you answered my question, and that's beautiful. My question was going to be, so to me, hearing you, and even when you shared with me about what you did before, that sounded like your passion, like in you, is like part of your passion. So I was wondering, let me see if I can get rid of this troll person. Hold on. I ain't never had that before, but let's see if we can block somebody. Let's see. Oh my. Okay, I got to figure out how to do that. That's a new one for me, y'all. Okay. If somebody knows how to block them, let me know. I've never had to block someone on Facebook. Wow, I'm getting all kind of lessons. But so anyway, what I was gonna say, even in talking to you before and just hearing your passion for education and teaching, my question was going to be, how did you settle with dying to that dream? I mean, you're still teaching and educating your child, but dying to the dream of that give out. But you answered it. You're still doing it. So
I don't think I'm dying to it. And I think what I've realized is that because a lot of times we think we're gonna, and it's not to downplay any advances made in education or different ways of thinking about it and things like that, but a lot of times we approach it like we just have to fix the school, we have to fix the teachers, we have to fix the principals, we have to fix the curriculum, and we keep trying to change those things. And I think one of the angles that I feel like is not addressed is, well, let's talk about how parents feel about their role in educating their children. Let's talk about how parents sometimes, when they give their kids to a school, it's almost like they give over their child to a school to educate them. And I believe highly that kind of it's disempowering, and it sometimes it kind of lends itself to the idea that, well, that's their job. And then when the job is not done in a way that we appreciate or a way that's valued, it's like, oh, the school should have. And really, the parents' role, whether their child goes to school, or it's really our responsibility to raise our children, and educating them is just one of those factors. And really, you're trying to educate them, you're trying to do everything else for them, get them in sports, teach them morals, teach them all these things, and a big part of their lives is their education. A big part of their lives is their influences, how someone taught them history, what they lacked in teaching history, a lot of times not factoring their natural giftings and abilities. And sometimes I think we don't realize that you're working sometimes against yourself with some of the influences and the other things. And I think I just think that empowering the parents, teaching them about how to teach their children, for anybody that works, for homeschoolers, not unschoolers, people that go to school, it should just be, hey, you as a parent are more than able. Your children are designed for you. I believe that literally they're designed for you. They came from you, and that you can be equipped to tackle everything that you need to educate them well.
Absolutely. Yes, I got to give some snaps. I do it really slow, or Facebook would get mad if I go too fast. Snap. That is so good. And we shared it, have the same heartbeat in that I am very much about empowering the parent, empowering, where in other locations or entities, it's always been about taking that power away and giving it away to someone else. And they have that right over your child, whether it's medical, hey, whether it's educational or whatever. But we need to take that power ourselves and be the advocate for our own child. And we need to realize that's our responsibility. So snap, snap.
Yeah.
You said that so
and
well.
I think sometimes it's intimidating to know that,
Yeah.
that it's humbling too, to know that in the end, you know, it's not like you're the only influence, but it's humbling and it's almost intimidating. Like, how can I? But we can't let that stop us. If that's what we're called to, that's what we're built to do, designed to do. I don't think that should be the hindrance from doing it, especially if it's what's necessary for your children.
Absolutely. If that was the case of being intimidated and stopping, then we would have left all our babies in the hospital, especially the firstborn.
Absolutely, because they don't come with instructions, you know?
I know, they don't. You're like, oh, what am I doing with this baby? You're letting me take her home? What? So we would have left them. But no, we persevered. Same thing with those who are married. The same idea. We would have just stopped before we got to the altar. All these things of intimidation in our lives would have halted us. But no, we get it done. We find the village and we connect. So, oh, beautiful. You all, girlfriends, let me tell you who we have today. We have Nathalie Green up in here. Yes, on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. She is laying down some nuggets. You are going to want to rewind this, replay this. Very insightful information she is sharing with us. So we're going to dive in deeper on this part of our show here. Please, please, please hit the share button. Go ahead and share it on your page. Share it into some other homeschool groups. Let's get the word out about these interviews. This is you. This is your community. Let's see, I froze up here.
Yeah.
This is you, the homeschool community, sharing their stories. So let's make sure we can hear me, Nathalie?
I hear you.
Okay. My screen just froze for a little bit. But anyway, so I want to know, you mentioned about, homeschooling. Yeah, are you following me?
I hear you now.
Okay. So you mentioned about natural gifts and abilities. What do you do in your homeschool to make sure that is front and the focus for your girls?
And that actually is a big work in progress. My oldest one, and she was leaning towards the reading, the writing, and things like that. The style of education really had a lot to do with the fact that she was like, she wanted to read more. She wanted to learn to write. She wanted to know the mechanics of things. And so we just kind of went with that. And we've seen that future. I just know that the natural ability, her natural inclination, she loves words, word puzzles, word things. We give her opportunities to strengthen those gifts. We challenge her more in those areas than we do in areas that are not her strengths. but we make sure, one, that she has access. It's like, you know, her favorite day of the week is library day, and she has her own little cart and library card and stuff, and we just allow her to do that thing. She just picked up knitting. She plays piano. And so it was kind of like, is our family willing to make the investment in giving her a piano instructor? Is it worth it? And we've just made that. We make the financial investment, we make the time investment to just nurture the gifts that we just start to notice. Like, she brings them up. A lot of times the things you see your kids doing the most is just kind of an indicator of what kind of where they're going, where their gifts and their talents and their leanings are. And I say all that to contrast her with the second one, because my second child is not, she loves books. She loves to be read to. She's 5 and she is not interested in reading on her own just yet, you know, but she is active, and she likes piano too. She just learns it differently. She learns it by ear. She's the gymnastics, flip up and down kind of person. And being able to have the time with them to notice those gifts, I think the biggest thing that we can do, our plan is to be able to give voice to those things when they get older and they start to question it, or when they get older and someone tells them, no, I can then go back. And I think the idea about knowing their gifts, knowing their talents, and being aware of it, and having time to pay attention to them and being the one to see it, can be really helpful for them in the long run. Because what I find is that a lot of adults now, you know, they're just now getting to their talents, just now getting to their abilities. Like, they did the whole school thing, they met all the marks, they did great, but then they're just now being like, but what am I made to do? What thing gives me so much purpose that it doesn't feel like a job? And I think a lot of times we wish, or sometimes I long for, my parents to come back and be like, what was I doing? Was I like this as a child? Like, did I love teaching and history as much as I love it now? Like, and I realize now you have to be able to go back. So I feel like our job as a parents, one of the things that we're called to do is to really pay attention to our children, to see the way they lean, to see how they're built, and then to move in that direction with them wherever it takes them, even if it's something out of our comfort zone. And, you know, whether you're willing to make the investment and just go with that. Personalized education, I guess, tailor-made.
That's good. I like personalized education. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me ask you this. What is your normal habit from day to day? Do you have a set schedule of how you school, your day, yourself as, you know, self-care? What is it? What is a daily habit?
I more so I have some daily habits, and then I have some set week. Like, there is a day in the week that we go out and do all practices, all grocery shopping, like the day out. One, because I'm so much of a homebody, I couldn't be out every day of the week. So I have like Wednesday's our day. You know, it's like, if it's music practice, is co-op, whatever, like 6:30 something, and I'm just like, you know what, we're not gonna race. You got to stay quiet time in your room. Now they're old enough to where I can just tell them, hey, mommy needs a moment. We go slowly. We wake early, but we go slowly.
In the middle of our interview and just got cut out, so you all just jump back on in, and we're going to keep going, and I will figure out how to fuse these interviews together. So Nathalie Hawkins. Get some soap in my mouth. Nathalie Hawkins. All right, girl, so keep on telling us what you finish your conversation about your habits and your homebody. Like me, I like to be home, keep it simple, get everything done at one day. So you have set day, set week. So yeah.
So I have a set day in the week. It's kind of like an anchor day to do library, to do out anything that we really have to do, any lessons and that kind of stuff. We just set it in one day, kind of in our week, just to bring ease. Just so we're not ripping and running all day, you know, or every day of the week. And so, but the rest of the days, it's morning, it's making breakfast together. We spend time in the Word together. We're Bible believers, so we spend time studying the Bible together, you know, having good conversations. And then we start, I guess, our school. And our school, you know, takes on different forms in different days. And so, but we have a routine. My daughter usually starts with her math, because we're very simple with reading, writing, and arithmetic. And so we do math, writing and reading are just, those are like formally curriculums. We don't have a curriculum for necessarily everything. And so we just start our day like that. We're usually done by 1:30 every day. And then my children go out to play at that point. We eat lunch together and things like that. And then and then that time after 1:30 is when, or 1 o'clock, 1:30 is the time when I go to do everything else that I do is after we've had that. We anchor our morning in, and then in the afternoons, I mean, they read books. We don't really do TV so much, but they read books. They play with each other, which is, I think, one of the best things that they can do. And we plan everything else after that, if we have to leave and stuff. But we're big. I mean, we're gym routine people. We like routine over here. Always have. So
I love routine. I love routine. Very good, very good. Tell us, let's go shift gears just for a little bit. My little mantra is that no one gets a ticket to perfect. No one gets a ticket to perfect. No one, no one, no one. We all have our challenges, so that we can have our victories. And there's no mountains without any cliffs in it, for us to be able to climb up this mountain sometime. But tell us, go back to, if you can, in your memory in these 5 years of homeschooling, your worst day of homeschooling. So bad that you almost, in the back of your mind, public school is right there, or private school, or somewhere where you're not homeschooling was in your brain, in your mind. Take us to that day, Nathalie.
I would think that day, and it's hard to pinpoint a day because there have been there's so many things that factor into, I guess, a bad day of homeschooling, because honestly, when I sense a day is going in that direction, a lot of times it's like we need to pause, we step away, and kind of, to avoid the big clashes or things that happen, we kind of take a break a little bit. But we have had days, a lot of times, I think I remember distinctly one day where I did the threat to send my girl to school, my oldest. And it was one of those, and it's a threat. It's like, I'm just going to send you to school. I can't take this. And I think something happened when I said, it's like, I can't do this. She looked at me like, what do you mean? Like, this is right. Like, how could you say that? Like, she wasn't just disappointed, but she was like, is that a possibility? Like, it hit her for a moment. She's like, is that what we do? And I think when I saw her reaction, and I feel like I realized that I had given in to the pressure so much and created a lot of times self-imposed pressure so much that I made her feel like, hey, this mommy thing is unstable, or she's dependent, her ability to do it, her ability, whatever, is dependent on me being awesome all the time. Mommy's temperament is determined by how well I give into this. And I just remember it being just one of those moments where I was like, this is not who I want to model being in front of her. And it was just one of those, it was humbling. And a lot of factors went into it. A lot of it was I wasn't caring for myself. I was trying to do too much. Or I had looked at what other people were doing and said, well, do we need to do that too? And was like, let me just add that to my schedule. Let me just add that to my plan. And a lot of times it's like, it sounds great, but if it's not for your family, you create this big burden for them, this thing that's not for them. And then you have them hold to something that it's not for us. This is not who you are. And it's okay that way. And I think that was the worst day, because I still remember how she looked at me. She was like, is it a possibility that you can be my parent and be calm and listen? It'll humble you real quick.
That is really good. That's good. And I'm glad you said that, because that hopefully will bring some level of conviction and correction to our hearts as homeschool moms or dads who will quickly throw that out as an option. And what it becomes is that punishment, and we make it sound like the punishment. For some, it's a punishment. For some kids, like, yeah, let me get out of here. Woo, yes. But either we should put that out there as if it's something that must happen, because sometimes seasons change and you may have to do something different. And if that season change and you have to do something different, like send them to public school, you don't want that stigma to be there, like, oh, she's sending me to the place she threatened me to send me to, and I'm going there. What are they going to do to me?
Yeah. It's about just being less reactive. I think something happens and we just react versus responding to the situation. And I think for that moment it was, this is just a reaction, like, and that's just not, it's just not a good model for them. That's
Yeah.
funny though, to send them to the prison that you keep threatening them with.
I know. I mean, so I mean, it's a horrible threat, and it does affect their psyche. And because if you ever have to, that has to
Yeah,
be an option. I don't, man, we're sending them there, and our little kids, what are we doing to their brain? They're like, wait a minute, mommy, that's the bad place because you always
yeah,
threaten to
you
send
don't
me
want
there.
that.
You
Absolutely
know,
not. Yeah, absolutely not.
So we really thank you for bringing that up, Natalie. We really have to be careful and cautious of that terminology and not throw it out there like that. Just
Yeah.
don't throw it out. So, okay, conversely, tell us what is your proudest moment or day in your homeschooling journey that just, brings you to tears almost when you think about it, or maybe brings you to tears literally thinking about it.
So so the good days definitely outweigh the bad days. Absolutely outweigh the bad days. And or I mean, it's not a bad day. A lot of times we have a bad moment and we just transfer that over to the whole day. But the good times definitely outweigh them. I think one of my favorite things that we've ever done as a homeschool family is we try our best to go where my husband goes. His job requires him to travel and things like that. And a lot of times we just, because we don't have to call anybody and ask permission, we just get on the road or we get on a plane and we meet him where he is or join him where he is, and we just make whatever city he's in, we make that our school for however long we're there. And I think we went to DC with him, Washington, around the area, Maryland, DC, and we spent all of our time like at the museums, walking and things like that. And I remember walking down the National Mall towards the new African American History Museum and watching my husband like hold one of the daughter's hand and have the other one like rushing us along, and thinking like, this is what heaven is like. Like it's like you just watch them. It was the middle of the day, so it wasn't really that crowded. It was all the little homeschool perks in one. Like one, we were traveling mid-school year and got really good flight, thing. The other, it wasn't going to be a crowded museum because it was the middle of the week. It was all of these things. And then like just realizing that we're doing this kind of on our own terms. It's like in our own time, on our own terms. We decide what's valuable to our family, and then there was that sisterly love that I got to see a little bit of. My 10-year-old, oh, she was 8 at the time, holding my 4-year-old's hand, and just seeing how close they were, and it was like, this is a different way of living. It's a different way of approaching life. It's sometimes terrifying in that you have so much freedom, and to see that, to see my family together on a random day that, if they were in school and I was at work and we were doing things, like I wouldn't be able to have this time with them. It's just that. And we have all those moments. They're playing pianos together right now. It's stuff like that just like, oh, the oldest helps the youngest. All of those things come together and culminate into, man, it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And it makes me feel humble. It makes me feel privileged. More than I can even explain how privileged I feel to be able to do this and have this time with them. So I think that day might have stuck out to me more, only because it was one of those, those moments that just kind of you take a little snapshot in your mind and it sticks with you. So.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I see that picture too. It makes my heart warm. Ugh,
Yeah.
just being
Yeah.
it's beautiful. That you're so right. That's beautiful. So as we just shift gears and go to the end of our show, oh my goodness, girlfriends, we are with Nathalie Hawkins. Yay! She is just beautiful. Natalie. So Nathalie Hawkins out of Florida, homeschooling mom of 2 little girls, for 5 years, and her husband, Emil. They are doing it up, doing a great job, and homeschooling. She's sharing her journey and giving voice to her homeschool life. So thank you so much. So let's transition here. These questions are going to be just questions to pick your brain. You can give 1 or 2 sentence answers to them, and then there's some things you need to delve into, go for it. But yeah, just quick answer questions, okay? So Nathalie, tell us, what is your favorite quote that helps you through this journey of homeschooling?
Oh, I hope I don't mess it up. Okay, so it is a quote by C.S. Lewis, and he says, the homemaker is the ultimate career because it's the career where all other careers serve. something like that. It's like, it's the career to which every other career, like, it's the point. The point was so that we can build a home and build a life. And
Yeah.
that just encourages me all the time.
Wow.
Especially when other things try to draw my attention and stuff like that. It just reminds me the importance of raising my children, being at home, building a home.
Right. Everything else flows from that. I need to
Yeah.
put that up. That we need to frame that one.
Yeah.
Do you plan to homeschool all the way through to high school to the end?
I do. That's our plan. And we're willing. I don't. We definitely reevaluate it, but that is our plan. Our strategy is kind of like wherever each child is going. We always keep in mind, because of our career, that we can go in different directions. We can end up in different countries and stuff like that. So we're very open all the time when each year comes or each new circumstance. But our plan is to educate them into whatever career they're going into.
Gotcha, gotcha. So tell us, what is something that's unique in your homeschool, Natalie, that is just the Hawkins homeschool deal? Like, you all have created that, and that's what makes your homeschool what it is.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know if I didn't create it, but it's just kind of, we're all about this. We're about the audiobook life. We are like, first of all, we like two things. I guess two things. We like to sing a lot together. We learn a lot of our stuff by singing, and our family, my husband teaches us to harmonize and all that stuff. So a lot of stuff we're trying to remember. We do a lot of audio learning, music learning. We're learning French together. We're doing it through an audio program. And then we like audio books. So we're in the car, we're probably listening to an audiobook. We're in the house and it's quiet time. It's usually there's an audio playing. We just kind of like to be read to. We just like to be read to. We like to learn that way. And so that's our thing. We have like several, I think I have 3 different audiobook apps on my phone, and we have CDs in the car all the time. And so I guess that would be our thing. It's kind of our portable education, audio education lifestyle.
Wow, that's neat. 3 apps. You're gonna have to tell us what those apps are, and
Absolutely.
maybe you tell us now. So my next question is, what is a book or curriculum or something that you have in your home library that you feel like every home must have this thing?
Ooh, okay. So I actually really like, and I know people are like, it's not for everyone, but I really like Susan Wise Bower's The Well-Trained Mind. And the reason I like it is because she gave a 12-year like plan kind of thing, and not that we have to do exactly that way, but she kind of gave a vision for it. You could do this and graduate them, and that was so important to me as a first homeschooler. In the beginning of the book, she also talks about how you don't have to be so stringent with your little ones, and that helped me so much. And so I think that's a good one to have, even if you don't go the classical route in educating your children. There's so much more good in that. I know she has another one out here, Rethinking Education, that's coming out, and that's also another one that I'm like, her approach and her way of talking about education, I think, is empowering. So I like her stuff.
Okay, all right, good deal. So tell us, what is the best piece of advice you have received on your homeschooling journey?
Best piece of advice, I think, would be to make it your own. And I think that's why, just to make it your own, that your children are your own, and that I guess that goes along with just not comparing with everyone. I think it was your speaker before, Christina Garrett, who said, comparison is the thief of joy. That is one of my other favorite quotes. And that, it really will rob you of the beauty in your children, the beauty in your family, the beauty in your home. It'll rob you of your peace if you're always looking at other people. But be excited about your own thing. Make it your own, and you'll find gold in there when you look at it that way.
What is your favorite resource, tool, these apps, these book apps you mentioned to us, that has helped you to successfully homeschool?
I would say the Facebook groups. There's the African American Homeschoolers group is phenomenal. Like, if you need anything, it's there. The insight, the people being so transparent in their sharing, they share information, resources, and things like that. It's been helpful to me, and so Facebook groups a lot are beneficial, and they're helpful if you can, mind your Facebook time to not get so caught up that you don't really do anything else.
Okay, tell us about the apps, your different apps you have on your phone that you have of audiobooks.
Okay. So there was Audible. It started with that, then realized that we don't want to keep books, so we passed that. But I still use it every now and then. But there's Overdrive, which is you can use your library card to check out audiobooks for absolutely free as long as your library is in the system. And now there's another one called Libby, which is basically like Overdrive. It's Libby, Libby app. And it is like Overdrive. You check in and you sign in with your library card, and you can check out. If you're part of multiple library systems, you can use all of their libraries. And we find that we find all the information we need that way.
Wow, and it's just only features audiobooks.
And no, it's a ebooks and audiobooks.
Okay.
And once you download them, and then you can listen to them when you're offline. And
Oh,
then you
wow.
yeah, and they turn. It's not like you're gonna need to use data to do it. You download it while you're home, and then you take it in the car, and you can play it. And so that's what we do.
Good
Absolutely.
deal. You all, yeah, we need to have those apps. That sounds good to me. Tell
Yeah.
us a favorite book. Now, you mentioned The Well-Trained Mind and Rethinking Education. Are there any other books that you have read to help you well prepare for homeschooling, or are those mainly the ones?
Interestingly enough, The MisEducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. It was huge on my list in terms of perspective. And it really informs my conversation with people when we talk about the power and the importance of education. But I think everybody should read that.
Mhm.
Whether you agree with his final conclusions and what we should do or not, I think it's an important conversation to have. So The
Okay.
MisEducation of the Negro would be the other one.
Okay, good deal. Wow, good deal. Uh, are you ready? We're on our last question, the
I'm
$1 million question. Are you ready, Natalie?
yes.
Okay, if you had to start all over again, back to day one, brand spanking new, fresh start, but you have all your current wisdom, knowledge, skills, convictions, what would be the first thing you'd be sure to implement in your homeschool or make sure you don't have in your homeschool on this new journey?
If I can start from the very beginning, from what we've learned, I would be easier. I would be I would be more at peace. And knowing what I know now, there's a great book called Teaching from Rest. I would rest more in my abilities. I would rest more in God's ability working through me. I would rest more in just knowing who we are as a family. And I wouldn't be so I guess, pressed to make every standard that others give me. I think that's the thing I would redo the most is how much I felt I had to look like a school to be a homeschool, but instead of just focusing primarily on our family relationships and just having education be a second, just a part of that. Um, yep.
That's good, 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 very good. Well, thank you, Natalie. Let's tell us any three things I like from you. One, any last words of advice you like to share with us. Two, let us know what your hands are in, what we can get connected to as our extended village there in Jacksonville, Florida, about to go do something else somewhere else. And then three, how can our viewers get in contact with you if they want to continue this conversation and learn more about To Teach Her Own?
Okay. If you want, okay, so let's see who should answer. I'm gonna start with where to find me. So you can find me at www.toteachherown.com. If you accidentally type in To Teach Your Own, you can get there anyway. And there's also the Facebook page, To Teach Her Own. It's the same name across all platforms on Instagram as well as YouTube. You can find To Teach Her Own. And on YouTube, I do videos talking about some of the curriculums we use and things like that. Um, Also, right now, our family, like I shared before, we're portable family. We're kind of getting ready. We might be transitioning and stuff soon. But we still have some favorites here around Jacksonville. If you're in the North Jacksonville area, there's the Culturally Connected Homeschool Co-op that's doing fantastic work in Jacksonville. There's also the African American Homeschoolers of Jacksonville. There are a couple different co-ops also in the area that are doing phenomenal work. So that's where we are. And then I guess the last bit of advice that I have or help, or just things that I would like to say is, if you are thinking about homeschool, if you think it's something you might be interested in doing, don't let fear be the thing to keep you from it. Because don't let fear be the thing, because a lot of times we keep ourselves from true freedom just because of the fear. You give yourself a character of what it would look like. I know a lot of times people thought, homeschoolers are in like, coveralls and long skirts, and they stay home and they look a certain way. And I think the biggest thing we can do for ourselves is remove the caricatures and stop putting we create our own little monsters, and really just think about you, your children, your family, and your goals for your family, and see if this would make you get to your goal quicker. If this would empower you as a family, if this would, then it's worth whatever you have to do to get to it. It's worth it, and then you can do it. And I believe firmly that you are the best educator for your children and your family.
Absolutely. Woo, girlfriend.
You are the average sum of the 5 people you hang out with. And today you've been hanging out with Nathalie Hawkins out of Florida. So keep up the momentum and keep making positive connections that will affect your homeschooling positively. Nathalie, Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling is grateful to you and appreciates you for giving of your time to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. And homeschoolers, girlfriends, woo! And guy friends, I hope and pray that you have found this interesting, enlightening, motivating, inspiring. And listen, you all remember that to teach a child is to touch a life. And as we homeschool, we not only touch a life, we shape the future through our efforts of homeschooling. So keep up a positive impact day after day, year after year. And you be sure to be a positive impact that others can draw from. Be that positive force that others want to connect to in their homeschooling journey. Let's build this village so that others will want to come and connect with it. So thank you all for joining with us. It's been great. And we're so grateful to have Nathalie Hawkins with us.
So thank you so much for giving up your time. We love you. We appreciate you. And just God bless all that you put your hands to, Nathalie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, girlfriends. Hope you found this insightful, enlightening. Go back and hit the replay. Go back and listen to this again. Thanks for all those hearts and thumbs up. You guys were amazing. Good information. I'm going to have all her contact information in the show notes so that you can get to her website, Instagram, Facebook group, YouTube. She's all over the place as to teach her own. Stay connected. So even if you move away, you're going to keep plowing at this, what you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Okay.
She's portable. She's not going to cut it off. So yes, connect with Nathalie, and thank you again for connecting with us today. We want to encourage you all to please impact into other people's lives, okay? Be that positive resource that people can draw from as they need a village to connect with.